Today I want to talk about how your reputation matters. When I came of voting age, someone told me make sure you know who you're voting for. If you put someone in power, you're responsible for what they do. He was referring to a passage from Proverbs that warns a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Oftentimes we associate ourselves with others of like mind or faith, and as a result we are judged within those borders. So no matter where it comes from, it's pretty good advice. So let me ask you, how does it help you to go out and hurt or malign others who've done no harm, to bear false witness against the innocent? Because these are just a few of the things you've chosen to be complicit in if you've given your endorsement and support to a particular candidate in the last two elections. Let's start with the murder of Heather Heyer, a peaceful protester who was murdered by a white nationalist in Charlottesville. The person you voted for didn't condemn it. Did you? Because if you didn't and you voted for that candidate again, you endorsed her murder. You might as well have been behind the wheel of that car yourself. The candidate has lied, cheated, and stolen goods and services from hardworking people who have honored contractual obligations in good faith, while his lawyers made sure that they'd go bankrupt if they tried to get what he owed them. And because you support him, you carry that too. Regarding the dozens of grifts he's employed over the last 10 years alone, many normal, hardworking middle class have been scammed out of their life savings. And because you support the candidate, you are an accomplice. By supporting the candidate, you might as well have walked into the dressing room of half-naked underage girls just to ogle them. That's who you support. That is what you're an accomplice to. You also may well be guilty of having AR'd a 13-year-old girl while palling around with your BFF on his own private child transportation island. By supporting that candidate, you might as well have been on the flight manifests too. You're complicit. You also may as well have AR'd a journalist in the 90s and battered a reporter and at least 27 other women. Because if you support him, you not only condone those actions, you're complicit. It also means you're in favor of that particular candidate stealing and refusing to return classified government documents, which puts the security and the safety of this nation, its citizens, and its defenders at risk at the hands of those who would love to see this country fail. Again, your support makes you an accomplice. You're also complicit in obstructing justice more than 37 times and 34 felony fraud convictions. You are then an accomplice after the fact because you already knew about these things. You're responsible for putting 3 unqualified perjurers, allegedly perjurers, we know that they did it because we have video, onto the so-called Supreme Court, one of whom is an alleged artist. The candidate did that, and so did you. It's also obvious you loathe women enough to be glad to see them die because you took away their right to personal sovereignty, which means you think the government should make their medical decisions for them. I thought you were against socialized medicine. Oh, unless it means you can control a woman's nethers and get away with killing them legally. You did that. This is where I get really upset because now you are forever complicit in every death of every woman, embryo, fetus, and fully formed baby who dies because the law you wanted and you got won't allow doctors to keep a woman alive when her own offspring is killing her. You did that. When a 7, 8, 10-year-old, 12-year-old gets a baby in the belly, most often because of an R from a family member, a parent, a brother, a friend, an uncle, and They become potentially sterile with a lifetime of health issues that should have been avoided with getting an A, or potentially they die. You have not already stolen her innocence, her childhood, her health, but possibly her entire life. You got what you wanted. You are complicit. Just like every time a child walks into a school with a weapon made to hunt humans, or a mentally unstable person who can't get the help they need sets out to commit S by cop, while taking as many people with them as they can. You made it happen. You are an accomplice. The candidate knew about COVID in November of 2019, and ignored it until the bodies started stacking up by the thousands on a daily basis. The candidate sat on a federal stockpile of personal protective equipment meant to be distributed to areas of need, a federal stockpile, then refused to allocate them to blue states, instead making governors scramble and play let's make a deal with leaders of red states, while he gave testing equipment to a despot who's squatting in Russia, not even for the Russian people, but for this despot's personal use. This deprived Americans of life-saving equipment. You made that happen. You are complicit in the deaths of over 400,000 Americans from COVID. During the Civil War, which lasted 4 years, approximately 650,000 Americans died. The candidate and you, in the same amount of time, have over 400,000 people's blood on your hands. That doesn't even count the exploding number of women dying for want of medical care. Medical care. With barely firing a shot. Hopefully, you realize that if you were present at any of these events, you would have been thrown in jail and left to rot for the rest of your life as a co-conspirator to all these crimes, just like those who stormed the Capitol are doing, who the candidate said, oh, don't worry, I got your back, I'll save you, I'll pay your legal bills. He doesn't even pay his own. So, you betrayed your country, your Constitution, your fellow countrymen, and the God you all claim to love because some trust fund elitist con man told you liberal tears were a magic elixir that would solve all your problems. And you're fine with it. Or are you? And just so you know, the tears that we cry, they're not because of you.